broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I just love this song. I don't even fast forward it when I'm watching it.
You can't.
You can't.
It's a
just
cardinal sin
it's
if you're a
so
fan.
Good. That's right,
Amazing.
AfterBuzzers. It's time for another Black Sails after show. Tonight we're talking season 3, episode 6, XXIV, or 24 if you can't read Roman numerals. I'm Lauren Salaun. You can find me everywhere online at Lauren Salaun, and I'm here tonight with Nadine.
Hello, hello. You can find me at Nadine, DP and the number 3.
Awesome. So before we dive into everything, want to make sure you guys out there all subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/AfterBuzz TV. You can also catch all of our after shows, including this one, on iTunes and SoundCloud as well. And when you're in iTunes, be sure to give us a 5-star review and say really nice things about the after show, because maybe we'll read them on the air if you do.
That'd be fun.
Just putting it out there. All right. What were your initial, gut reactions, thoughts about this week's episode?
I mean, I had a small heart attack at one point during this episode when the fight scene actually was about to happen. I was like, no, they cannot fight to the death. This is not something that's going to happen. So that kind of made my heart, pound a little faster than usual.
I was so stressed during that time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm shrieking, gasping, whatever this position is called, crossing my arms over my chest. It was very stressful.
Yeah, and I think they're just giving us a little bit more and more. That pressure is building up where it's almost we're going to have these crazy things happen. And I think we're just waiting still.
Yeah, I thought all around this was a solid episode, from the action and from the dialogue and just the political moves and strategic moves that people made. Oh, I thought it was so good.
They're giving us a lot. They're giving us a lot.
Ramping up.
And more stuff's going to just come next. I just want next episode to be here already. But let's talk about this one.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, let's dive in. We've got our pirate faction. So we've got Flint and the gang. They are still, it opens up with them, they're working on healing Mr. Scott. He's still alive,
yeah.
Which I was kind of surprised by. I know we talked last week about thinking he's probably going to kick it. Yeah. No, he is still alive. His daughter confronts Silver early in the episode, being like, what are you doing? This is an important thing. You guys asked for our help and all this stuff, but now you're acting like it's no big deal, and you don't give a crap, And meanwhile, she discovers that he's in serious pain and sick, has a fever from his rotting, nasty nub.
It's so gross. You think about the conditions that they've gone through, and then him on top of it, and you just see him in that moment just being so prideful, just too prideful. Silver, come on, give it a break. Just because everyone knows your leg was chopped off,
right?
It's not like you have a splinter and you're crying and complaining about it.
A little sissy.
You have part of your leg is missing, so you have every right to have medicine, deal with it, take care of it. Or she said, the daughter made a very good point. She was like, what type of help are you going to be to any of your men or anyone when you can't even walk, you can't even do anything?
Exactly.
So get it together, buddy.
You guys have resources. What are you doing? And he makes that speech oh, I can't look weak at all.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you die, then you're kind of screwing them over in that regard. Yeah. So maybe get it figured out,
Yeah, you're not helping anyone out by just sitting there. And I feel like he's not feeling sorry for himself, or sort of feeling sorry for himself by not doing anything about it. But I'm also starting to really love this relationship between the two of them. I feel like it's starting a little bit of romance in a sense, and we saw later when he finally agreed to get the medicine done that he's holding on. He was trying to be such a strong guy, didn't want to even bite down on a cloth.
Right.
And so he's holding this pole, grabbing it, and then her hand just comes up against it, and I was like,
erotic.
The sparks are just flying. I know, how erotic on this island.
So intimate.
But no, yeah, I'm really loving that relationship, and I think that she's going to, be someone good for him, possibly.
Yeah, and I like her.
Yeah.
I like her, Maddie, and the Queen. You know, they're these strong female characters who've been running this island and leading these men, and now they're partnering with Flint and Silver and all the pirates, and I think it's a really interesting relationship, and I think he trusts her, and you know, they value them as well, you know.
Yeah, and I love to, well, I don't know if I love, but the fact that he stayed back and stayed behind on the island while everyone else left. And I know he said that he wanted to sort of keep a face there at the island, etc. But it really was because he was just in so much pain. So it's kind of good that the guys aren't there, you know, to pick on him or whatever they think is going to happen in his crazy little mind.
Exactly. And so we get a glimpse of these guys, you know, the pirates and the Maroons coming together and on the ship when they're deciding to go back, you know, back to Nassau. And they are clashing. Like, things aren't working very well. And I loved this part where one of the Maroons, like, or one of Flint's guys blames one of the Maroons for not tying something properly. Like, something breaks, falls apart, all that stuff. And Flint pretty much says, well, if you showed him how to do it, then you didn't show him properly.
Loved that line.
You know?
There. Yeah.
Like, you didn't teach him well enough if it didn't happen. Yeah, I love seeing that.
I think it was very strategic on Flint's end to say that, because if he agreed with one of his men, it's just going to isolate the Maroons more, and then they're just going to be treated like crap, basically. Then how are they going to ever work together? So he had to sort of, you know, nip that in the bud as soon as he could. But we see Billy obviously getting in the mix of it and sort of being like, well, there's going to be more of this happening. Like, this is only the beginning. Like, he's just so, like, pessimistic.
I know.
Billy's just annoying me this whole episode.
He was such a little grump the whole time, I feel like. And even saying later, you know, when that other pirate is questioning, when we have the Blackbeard incident, you know, why he's stayed so close, especially him of all people, you know, because he's been like screwed over by Flint plenty of times. And he's like, you know, I might be just curious to see how, when it all catches up to him, and want to see that moment, which is, we don't get to see Billy being like dark like that.
He's being
really
vindictive. And he's like just waiting for it. And I don't know, like I always loved Billy because he always just stood up and stuff. And now I just feel like, I don't know. I don't. His motives are. It's like, if you're gonna be a part of the team, be a part of the team or leave type deal in my mind. Like, don't sit there and want Flint to die.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't sit there and try to do things to make things hard for everyone else.
Exactly.
I mean, even if you are technically right about a lot of things, you have to like decide like if it's the crew or you personally that means more, I guess.
So in the chat, Silver Hawkins pointed out, and Glennie Bowes as well, that in Treasure Island, John Silver has a dark-skinned, possibly African descent or Caribbean descent wife that helps oversee, like, you know, what he's doing. So, ta-da, could very much be Maddie who becomes that woman.
I would love that. I think that, like I said before, I think that's an awesome romance. So if they're actually going to follow the book in that sense, I think
and it'd be a good partnership.
Oh yeah, really good. Especially because when they were chatting too, at one point she was saying how she was brought up to know how to lead, basically how to take over for when her mother passes away or her father, etc. And Silver never had that type of training. He was kind of thrown into it. So I think if they do end up getting together in that sense, she can help him with leading the men, etc. So she has some knowledge of all of that.
For sure. So let's move into the Vane and Blackbeard and then Blackbeard Flint situation.
Okay.
So we see Blackbeard with, you know, one of his ladies, like past like wives, I guess. And yeah, seriously. And she's pretty much like, okay, why is Vane here? You know, questioning everything that's going on. And the interesting thing from this scene for me was him talking about his chest wound. Like he got shot in the chest, and every so often he feels it like kind of moving closer to his heart, stuff like that. And so I thought definitely once the situation with Flint started going underway, I was like, oh, Flint's gonna unintentionally like punch him right there, or something's gonna happen, and then he's gonna be done for it.
And his heart is just
gonna give up. Because even though that's not how Blackbeard died historically, you know, they've made changes to the real history, like with Ned Lowe and stuff. So we never know what they're gonna decide to kind of mess up from a storyline sense.
And I think that I kind of like this scene with him and one of his wives. You see a little bit of an emotional side to Blackbeard. I mean, I know we see that sometimes with Vane, but this was nice just to see him very just there in bed, open, not this scary man that, you know, he is to everyone else on the island. So it was nice hearing him actually talk about his wounds, where like normally a big guy like Blackbeard, oh, this wound's fine, oh, this is fine. Here. He's like, no, like I may die. Like this is kind of a serious thing now happening.
I have less of a crush on him now.
Yeah.
The dad bod doesn't
After
really
seeing
do
his
it for me.
Okay,
I mean, he's like
no
a huge guy.
Vane.
He's like what, 6'5" or something?
He's a big boy.
I don't even know.
Yeah, he's a big boy. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't want to get in a fight with him, but no
way.
Yeah.
No way. Speaking of fights, okay, so Flint and all the guys land at Nassau, and Blackbeard is pretty much like, you know, they greet each other. I didn't think it was going to be a big stressful situation. I was like, oh, they're so civil. Like, there's tension, but they're okay, you know? And they're talking about, okay, well, you know, we're both captains, essentially, like, who's going to lead these men, or what are we going to do? And Flint is like, sorry, Blackbeard, not your call. It's Vane's, you know, he's been more involved in this all than you have. And and Flint wants to honor their previous arrangement, you know, his and Vane's previous agreement, and Vane pretty much says no. And Blackbeard's like, okay, so we've got one fleet and 2 men who are trying to claim it. I know of one way that like the only way this gets solved. And then I go right back to when he had those 2 men who wanted to be those 2 pirates who wanted to be on his crew, and he's like,
fight for it.
Yeah, one of you is gonna make it.
That's what he does.
One, you fight to the death, pretty much. And so he says that. I was like, oh, we can't have a fight to the death, Flint or Blackbeard. Like, none of them, no one can die.
We don't want to see any of
them
them leave. No, it can't happen. But I mean, throughout that whole conversation, I love that they have it all set up right on the beach, and they're out. Like, that's a great conference room. Can we just throw that out? It's like any meeting I had could be outside on the beach. We should do this whole live show on the ocean next time. All right,
Black Sails on the ocean. Sand in here and take our shoes off.
We should do
just at least have like a little bucket of sand.
Just something fun.
Like
the ocean breeze a little. But I think the interesting part of that whole meeting happening was Vane was just silent the whole time. You just saw a very passive Vane just sitting there. He's with the 2 greatest. I mean, Vane is also an amazing pirate, obviously a great captain. But you're sitting there with Flint and Blackbeard, who you have 2 different type of loyalties to. And I mean, Vane just doesn't want to say anything, and he's only brought into it when Flint brings him into it.
Yeah.
And then he's sort of, I don't know, you see him very confused sort of on what to do. He's making excuses, I think, more than anything.
Yeah.
He was very much making excuses as to why he has to why he has to agree with Blackbeard. And I just kept hearing the excuses come out and out, like, oh, well, no one on the island's loyal anymore. Oh, well, no one's going to listen to you. Oh, well, you're going to fail, Flint.
Which he did have a good point. He's like, well, you didn't see when those pardons were offered how quickly they all jumped on them.
Yeah.
You weren't here to see that. Like, and that it's not that easy to take back.
Yeah, well, Flint's like, but if I was there, that would never have happened.
Yeah, he's like, but I'm Captain Flint.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Vane, that you were there and they all like went against you, but I'm Flint. If I was there, it would have been completely different. And I kind of agree with Flint in that sense. But yeah, it was interesting to see Vane just being a little bit more passive than we've ever really seen him.
So then, you know, we've got a duel.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah,
craziness.
Basically, like there were 2 duels set up. I mean, we saw one, and then we have later with Rackham, you know, more figuratively, which I think will become a very real duel.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have this duel. They're all like, all the pirates are lined up in a row. We've got Flint in the Flint and Blackbeard at opposite sides, and it's pistols first, swords second.
Which I don't think we've really seen that type of setup yet.
No, I don't think so.
In the past few seasons. I think that was normally it's just sword fighting to the death, but this was very, like, they've done this before. Everyone's seen this type of thing happen before.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I was so stressed watching it. I was so stressed. I was like, no, one of them cannot die. Seriously? And it happened so quickly, and I yelped when Blackbeard got shot and fell over. I knew it couldn't be Flint, obviously, but I'm like, they are not going to kill Blackbeard off this early. I'm sorry. Like, even if, history, it doesn't happen that way. They'll make changes however they want for the show, but I'm like, they cannot be doing that.
He can't
and
die.
He falls down, and he's, like, clutching his face, and I'm like, well, shoot. I mean, he just got shot in the face. I don't really know if you survive that.
Yeah.
You don't have like great medicine. I'm like, eye patch though, like maybe
something like that.
You know, did Blackbeard have an eye patch?
I
Not
don't
really.
think so. No, I think it just kind of nicked him on this side too. So it's just open.
A graze.
Yeah, it's just a graze. He's a big boy.
Just
he
took
can
off
handle
a little bit
it.
of eyebrow.
Exactly, he can handle it. But I mean, the fact that all these pirates were lined up so closely, I felt, to where the pistols were going to be shooting. Like, if I was watching that, I'd be like, no, I'm going to step way away from what's happening here. Yeah, they were all just really, really close. And I get maybe for the shot, you needed them all to be in there. But I don't know, I'd be a little scared. And what do you think is going on in the head of all of those, all of the pirates there? They're seeing like, two of the greatest captains go head to head in this incredible duel. Like, are they sad? I mean, we saw Billy there, who was sort of just indifferent, like, oh, all right, well, maybe Flint's gonna die. You know what I mean? Him not caring. But I mean, everyone else, like, I don't know. If I was there,
that's like pirate code. I mean, Blackbeard and Flint are like the top of the pirate food chain, pretty much. Those two guys. So they're like,
it's crazy.
If they say they're dueling, like,
we're not gonna say anything.
It probably would be better if we just joined forces. But I don't know, with these two, we can have a co-captain situation. No, probably not.
Not a thing.
And yeah, it was so stressful. And then the sword fighting after, I mean, Blackbeard, it was so slow and so intentional. He's like clutching his face, but then like gets up and he's like, we're not done, pretty much. And he doesn't say anything, but it's like, oh, you thought you could shoot me in the face and we'd be over? Heck no, bro. Yeah. And so, then swords are going, and Blackbeard is such a stronger sword fighter than...
He's huge.
Yeah, well, with that alone, he's just huge,
just
and
muscle
so much
and just
stronger.
Oh, yeah.
But and with that has such an advantage over Flint, you know, and it's so obvious once they're sword fighting, even with a shot to the face.
Oh, yeah. And you see... Sorry, keep going. Oh, you see Flint, and he's like... I could see in his face, he's hoping like, oh, is he dead? He's not getting up, right? Oh, God, do I have to really duel him right now with an actual sword? Can't he just... Yeah, he's like, can he just get injured off my pistol?
He didn't die?
Because then when Blackbeard just comes up, I'm sure Flint's like, oh, shit. Yeah. Like, this is happening.
Like, oh, crap. Yeah, this isn't over. I thought that was a real quick little draw.
Right? I thought I could win.
Yeah, no. And yeah, so I was so surprised that Vane stepped in. I honestly thought, actually, that Blackbeard, even though, like, knowing Blackbeard's character and knowing that he is, like, you know, pirate code and he's pretty ruthless. Yeah. I didn't think he would go through with killing him.
Yeah, really?
So, so I thought he would call himself off is what I thought was going to happen.
Okay.
But was surprised to see Vane step in.
Oh, I was so... I mean, we know Flint's not going to die. Like, we know that's not a thing. But, I mean, for him to just come in and jump in, I think it had a lot to do. It definitely did. Because they had a conversation, Flint and Vane did, prior to this whole fight. And Flint was basically like, hey, like, I get whatever loyalty you have to Blackbeard and stuff, but this is about so much more than these old loyalties or handshakes that we make and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like, this is Nassau. Someone took our home. Like, and the fact that Flint considers Nassau his home now, you know, it is. They built it up. He's like, you need to figure out who you are as a person and then deal with that. And that was just, you know, in Vane's head, that entire fight going on.
Exactly. So it was very, and some of the guys in the chat right now are saying, you know, that they feel like Vane's being more introspective than he usually is, which he's always like the strong, silent type, like very, like, when he speaks, he's very intentional with what he says, and you should listen. You know, he's not like a big talker, but I agree. I think he has been, in this episode at least, more introspective, because he's weighing these options. It's not just Vane, the leader, right now. It's like, okay, well, I've got Blackbeard, my mentor, who, is also a good leader and pirate, and now I've got Flint back in the picture. Like, what is the best option? What's the greater good? Like, how do we approach this? So
yeah, and I think it was interesting in the going back to Blackbeard and one of his wives, or one of the women in bed with him. She was saying how, like, where is his stance sort of with Vane, in a sense that, is he still your son, or is it just you're going back to the theory that only God can actually give you sons? You can't create your own sons. And I think in this moment, he's probably thinking back to, this guy's not my son anymore. Like, God really can only give you a son. You can't just create a son.
I was sad for Blackbeard. He looked very betrayed when he walked away.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, even when
he
was fighting
him, and he walks away and nobody follows him. You know, I was like, I don't think it's your beach anymore, dude.
I mean, it's just one of those things, second chances. It's just like, do you give them?
Yeah,
do you not?
I feel like second chances in Black Sails always screw
Oh, yeah.
you.
Yeah. I mean, it's cynical to say and stuff, but it's just like, meh, don't give out second chances that often
Yeah.
in the pirate world. So,
No.
you know.
All right. Before we dive into like Eleanor in the woods and that whole situation, what's going on, guys, we want to tell you again a little bit about Blue Apron, because you know what? We're able to do this show and all the shows we do for free for all y'all, but you know, we got to give a little shout out to some of our peeps that help make that possible. So Blue Apron, I've actually used it before and it is freaking awesome. So if you don't have time to cook, you don't have time to go shopping, you don't know what you should be getting, all that stuff, they've got you covered. For less than $10 a meal, they will deliver all the fresh ingredients that you need to create home-cooked meals, along with the recipes and the instructions and all that, all packed perfectly for how many people you need it, you name it. Everything can be prepared in 40 minutes or less. No trips to the grocery store.
Love it.
No more takeout, which is way more expensive. You know, you usually pretty much always save money when you're cooking for yourself at home. So it's better, and it's a lot more fun too.
Put
And you're
some
gonna
good
learn
music
stuff
on.
too, right? So lots of great meals you can choose from. You can customize what type of food you want, all that stuff. And we're giving you guys a little deal to get your first 2 meals for free at blueapron.com/podcast. Once again, that's blueapron.com/podcast. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. So
There we
check it
go.
out for some home cooked food that you don't have to put a lot of work into.
Yum.
All
Put
right.
the theme song on to Black Sails and get all, you know,
I
crazy.
know, make some meat, grill up some meat. I don't know, what's pirate food. Anyway, don't get scurvy, eat some fruit.
Yeah.
So we've got Anne and Rackham and Max and the Eleanor, like this whole situation. Let's
crew.
talk about Eleanor and Woods first. So we see Eleanor talking with Miss Hudson, the chambermaid, who was like, "Oh, just kidding, I'm a spy," last week. And she, I felt much more like justified for why she was doing that, because we learned that she had been threatened, her family had been threatened, she's worried about, you know, her children. So, okay, whatever.
Valid things to be concerned over.
Yeah, valid things to be considered, like,
Consider
concerned
that,
over.
yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, not so much of a big deal, but then there's the point that, like, you know, them converting the money into easier transportable funds was seen as like such an insult, you know.
Yeah.
And so now there's obviously huge pressure, as there was last week, to get this gold back. They need to get the gold back, or everyone's going to get killed by the Spanish.
Of course.
Pretty much. I mean, weren't they already all going to get killed by the Spanish
The
anyway?
Spanish are going to be coming and killing everyone, no, regardless of the gold or not. But I mean, I understand from the Spanish perspective, in a sense, that it is kind of an insult, because it's like, all right, it's one thing if you're going to steal it and stuff, cool, but now you're going to hide it and you're going to be sneaky about it. Like, I don't know, have a little, a little bit more backbone about
I'm like,
it.
if you're going to be a thief, you'd go be a good thief.
I kind of get where they're coming from, but at
Cover
the same
your
time,
tracks. You get that. Move
you
that.
get that, you move those pearls, but
Move that cheddar.
yeah, I mean, the chambermaid story, yeah, I get it. It sucks.
I don't like her.
She's just not like personable at all.
Let's kill her off.
And then I was also like thank God they did like a little flashback to what happened, because I was like, I don't kind of believe it right now. Is that really something? Anyone could say that.
She seems so calculated. She's like,
yeah.
Well, to tell you the truth, like last week, you know, she's like, I barged in here and actually a man approached me several weeks ago. You know, I'm like,
where'd
who
that
is this
come
lady?
from?
Get out of here.
No, totally agree with you.
Yeah. So we've got that going on with them, and I loved the Rackham and Anne situation right now. So as we saw last week, Jack, you know, he's like, oh, but I can't be Jack Rackham anymore. Like all this stuff. He's having some identity, like legacy crisis, all that.
Yeah.
And so he's like, all right, Anne, you keep on going and you know, protect the goods. I'm going back to get the pardon and see like pretty much like what he can do from there.
Yeah.
And he finds out they're rebuilding the fort, like gets this thought in his head, like all this stuff is happening, and he is like, I'm so curious how Woods won over all the pirates. He's like, and other pirates are like, well, it's not really that bad, you know. He's like a decent guy, so it's okay. And he goes up to get his pardon, and they're like, wait, I'm sorry, what was your name?
Wait, one more time?
They're like, okay, guards?
Yeah, arrest this man.
Obviously, right?
Yeah.
Come on, Jack.
He's the one that has all the gold.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
And so he goes to meet with Woods, and I liked how civil their conversation was. You know, he's like, oh, I know about, I mean, I read your book. I didn't read it completely, but I got the gist of it. Yeah. And he's like, okay, what's the gist? You know, cool. What's the gist? And he's like, you're the wealthy son of a wealthy man who took to the sea to prove something, and you lost everything in the process, but you got a good story out of it.
You just read the back of the book.
Yeah,
you know,
right,
he read the
like,
synopsis. Yeah, Spark noted it real quick. He went online.
Exactly. And then Woods pretty much just asked him, like, okay, so I know you have the gold, like you hid it, and I know you converted it and stuff, and can you just give it back or we're all gonna die?
Yeah. I loved that line there. Yeah. Basically being like, hey, like, I'm not mad at you at all, like, did what you did.
We're all kind of screwed.
But yeah, exactly. Like, it made it like a collective thing. It wasn't like an anti-Rackham thing. It was like, hey, save everyone, you know? And I think that sort of could have been a good thing for Rackham, someone who wants his legacy to be, you know, left and lasting and all this stuff. But he wants it in a different way, we find out later. His legacy to last.
Yes. So Max kind of steps in, which I was a little surprised by Max's perspective on all this. So she is, I mean, Jack tells her, he's like, okay, they haven't conquered Nassau at all. They don't have the gold. They don't have any ownership over this this area. You know, they're in no control whatsoever. And which is true and
completely valid. Yeah.
So Woods had told Jack to write a letter to Anne to like, hey, come in and like, you know, bring the goods. Yeah. It's for
come back,
everyone.
Honey.
It's okay. Yeah. And so he did that, but with like a secret code embedded in it.
I loved it.
I loved that.
I thought it was beautiful.
And he's talking to Max. He's like, don't you think I would have some way of writing a perfectly appropriate letter to Anne that says everything that Woods wants me to say and still be able to send her a secret message and she would know exactly what I'm thinking? I was like, oh, I love it.
Do you think he said that kind of get under Max's skin too, in a sense, to show like that their relationship is that close?
It's better.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is how like connected we are. Like I don't even need to say it and she can understand what I'm saying. You know? I don't know. I thought that was a little dig and I kind of liked it in a sense.
For sure.
So, yeah, but I mean, the whole Max, yeah, you're right. The Max flopping sort of thing, that's just, I think, Max being too, like, about her position and where she is on the island and power. And
I feel like almost, I don't know, but to, like, prove something to Eleanor, maybe? I don't know if it's really that, but she's, like, wanting to be all legitimate, you know, and maybe trying to, like, win favor with the British, you know, but it didn't seem like she would. I felt like she would say that maybe to Eleanor and Wood's faces, but then be like, all right, Jack, here's our plan B, like our sub plan, which is the real plan, you know? Exactly. That's kind of what I saw coming. So it surprised me that she was like, Jack, I disagree, and I'm going to side with Eleanor and Woods.
Yeah, well, I think it is like a power trip in a sense, also because this is the only place in the world that someone of her status, someone of her position, her color even, could even have such a leading role in society.
Right.
And so I think she's actually liking the fact that she's able to be a leading lady, and now a land that's sort of going to be a little bit more civilized, and her input is actually validated. Like, she's on the chair, she's on the board. So I think that's why she's subconsciously really liking what's happening, even though she's supposed to be this pirate-esque figure.
Yeah, so. And in the chat they're saying, you know, for one, that this is pretty much what like is sealing Jack's fate, which I completely agree. Like, as he's saying this, I'm like, this is beautiful, and this is like such poetic, like revenge, if you will, or like so good pirating. Yeah, that's a sentence. I don't know, but I just loved it so much. But at the same time, you're thinking, oh, but this is so perfect that it's gonna get pulled off, but this is what is gonna be the end for Jack. And he even like hints at that with, what does he say? He says, you know, if they have two options. Woods has two options: to give up and I will have the fort and Nassau back and I will be leading, or to refuse and Spain will come in and burn this place to the ground and it'll be back to pirate order pretty much. And he's like, so either option, I pretty much win, and it's going to be my legacy. And if Spain comes in and destroys everything, including me, essentially, it's going to be because of Jack Rackham, you know? And he's so concerned about his legacy. And so I just, it made me feel like that's where it's going to go. And I know we've talked before about how we feel like Anne or Jack, one of them is probably going to die. And I feel like this was...
Yeah. And
this was the start of that, or the hint of that.
And he even says, too, he's like, I don't care what they do to me. Basically, they can torture me. They can do this. They can do that. I'm still going to just stand my ground. So, yeah, you're right. He does anything for the legacy.
Yeah, he's like, this is my duel with Woods. Like,
yeah.
Don't you see what's happening?
But don't you think he would be a little concerned about what's going to happen to Anne, though? Like, putting her in this type of position?
I think he knows that Anne can hold her own to a certain extent. I mean, we saw
she really can.
I love that. She's reading the letter and you see her like totally knowing what's going on, you know.
Light bulb just turns on.
And we've seen Anne go crazy on
she's a badass
fools before, and so she's just like slice to the gut, kills the guy, and you know, later we see his horse getting brought back in, you know, riderless, and and now that pretty much leads us at the end of the episode to everybody is searching for Anne, pretty much. You know, we've got Flint and Vane who need to find her because they need the jewels and stuff, but then we've also got now Woods who needs them to turn them back to the Spanish as well. So Anne's kind of the treasure right now. I mean, she literally has it.
She has the treasure. And she's
so,
just hiding right now. Yeah. And I think a good line that I wrote down that Rackham had said, he goes, so I have begun the duel between myself and our governor. So, and it just shows you the sort of disconnect that how when he went in and Woods was so nice to him and just so like, hey, like, let's work together, this and that. Then after, he's like, nope, I'm dueling with this man. This is not happening. It's not a thing. So I just love that line that he said right there. But yeah, it's crazy end. See what happens. So who do you think? I mean,
should we dive into predictions? I feel like we hit everything because we've got folks in the chat are predicting stuff too.
All right.
Silver's got some good points. Silver and Glennie, great points this evening, talking about how all the betrayals and, you know, everyone pretty much chooses Nassau over other people, you know, or the other pirates or their partners, which I completely agree with. Okay, so in terms of predictions. Okay, so in the teaser we see that Max is kind of working to help Jack go free. There's, you know, the pirates are invading, like stuff's going on, and Anne's like being a badass. So like it was so fast, so much is happening, but I think we're really gonna start seeing the action. Like the fighting is gonna start.
It's coming.
Yeah, I think that we might see Jack die before the
That's
end
what I
of
was
the
going to ask
season.
you. Who do you think is going to reach their demise first, Anne or Jack? Who do you like? What one?
I don't think we'd lose both of them unless it was some epic like they die at the same time,
holding hands,
you know, like hugging, some terrible co-death in some way,
in a romantic way.
This episode really made me feel like it's going to be Jack with what he was saying about his legacy, because he figured out a way to live on and continue his legacy, which means he himself, you know, if it goes as planned, he has done his job and he is not as needed anymore, you know. His work is done, I guess, from a character standpoint, if you will.
You can die happy in a sense.
So I feel like Anne is a less integral character in the show, but I think Rackham's gonna feel it more. I don't know.
All right, it'll be a sad
unless
day.
Anne like sacrifices herself in some way, you know, because she's got this bounty on her pretty much from all sides. I don't think that Vane. I definitely don't think Vane and Flint would kill her, but I think the Spanish or the British for sure.
Well, this is what I think may possibly happen. Speaking of Vane and Flint not killing her, I think something has to happen very soon, because she's sitting there with no food, no water.
Right.
How is she gonna, and a horse and money? So it's like, how are you gonna survive? So something needs to happen immediately.
And not like with many hiding places.
Yeah, immediately. I know, right?
She's like on a path.
Just like everyone can see her. Like everyone can see this big horse if he like neighs or anything. But I just think it's just a very great timing and a big coincidence that Vane and Flint are on their way back to Nassau at the same time that Rackham decides to set up this whole, hey, they can't run the beach basically, or Nassau, without the gold. So I think because Anne is so close to the beach and stuff, I think there may be a little like scoop up from Flint and Vane, may scoop her up somehow, and then they're gonna have the money to somehow deal with the British there. So I think that's sort of how she's gonna get saved in some type of way. They're going to see her maybe walking the beach or something like that, and then they're going to have the gold in their possession, be able to leverage that when they come ashore.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's what I think of one prediction. And then I was sort of, I mean, we know that Silver and the daughter, we already talked about that. We hope that romance is going to happen. But I was thinking sort of, in a sense, I don't know why, maybe it's just because I kind of want to see them back together, but Max and Eleanor sort of having the same train of thought now, sort of wanting to, you know, protect Nassau in the new way that it's going. Yeah. Maybe because they're having similar thoughts again, it's going to spark something up, some type of romance is going to brew back together, and they're going to work together. I don't know. It may be far off,
I feel like
but
I could see them for sure going behind Woods' back too.
Yeah, and working together now, or something's going to happen with them, sort of having more of the same mindset again.
So Silver pointed out that, which could be a spoiler, that there's no guarantee that this will be in the show, but Horn & Gold captured 10 pirates for Rogers, who promptly tried, convicted, and hung them in one day. 10 pirates, but that he pardoned one of them because he was of a good station or something. So who knows if they'll, you know, because we don't know how historically they're gonna stick to things. So who knows? But goodness, that would be stressful.
That would be crazy. 10.
Yeah, I mean, there's many pirates to choose from, but like,
that's still
I don't want them to get all of our favorites that we really like.
I know,
but yeah, I feel bad things coming for Jack.
Oh, poor
Jack.
Jack.
Oh gosh, I loved him in this episode. I mean, I love him all the time, but this.
Well, because he stuck to his character.
Conniving and his like thought. You could see the wheels turning, and then when he said what it was just like such a good. You know,
he loved telling Max that too. He loved finally when like he was given the opportunity to be like, yeah, this is what I just did. Give me another glass of wine and let me sit here.
So good.
So next episode, maybe another.
Glennie
fight.
does not think that Max and Eleanor will be romantic again.
No. Do you think that they're going to work together at least if romance isn't a thing?
May work together.
Okay, there we go.
I didn't finish the sentence.
Okay.
Won't be romantic, but may work together.
Okay, love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the romance is a little out there, but I don't know. Like I'm saying, I'm a helpless romantic.
I mean,
so
they've been there before.
Yeah, you never really know
with
these girls.
Old territory. You never know with these girls.
You never know what they're thinking, what they're gonna do.
But Silver did point out that Silver in the chat, this is confusing when you have the same name as the pirates. Silver pointed out that Rackham wasn't one of the 10 pirates that was hung, but you know, they could take liberties. We'll see.
Gotcha.
Anyway, good predictions all around. This show just gets better and better. I love it so much.
And
this episode was great, and I think it's just going to be even more intense.
Yeah. Because we got our fight scenes a little bit this time.
I know
which I love,
it's brewing, and it's gonna. I mean, like all pirates unite and go, and the Spanish are coming, and all this stuff. It's just so good. All right,
fun.
All y'all out there, thank you so much for tuning in once again, and thanks to everybody who is in the chat. You guys have some really great insights and great historical knowledge, all that stuff. We love having you chat with us, and we love having you tweet with us, all that stuff. Be sure to check in every Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Here at AfterBuzz TV, I'm Lauren Salaun. You can find me all over the internet. I'm especially active on Snapchat and Instagram and Twitter. That's LAURENSALAUN. And Nadine, tell them.
Yeah, and thanks, guys. Yeah, the chat is so fun when you guys are able to give us some info. I don't know. It's nice to talk with you guys too. You know, I love talking with Lauren, but you know, sometimes we need a little extra people. But yeah, you guys can find me all over the place at Nadine DP and the number 3. So we hope to see you next week.
Yeah,
be fun.
All right, guys. Thanks again.
See you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.